Hey everyone, I'm John Sison, and today we're taking a look at the Sony 35mm F1.8 lens for the Sony E mount system. Okay, so I'm currently in Osaka, Japan, and to be more precise, I am currently visiting Osaka Castle. So I'm going to be using the 35mm F1.8 on a few shots here. I have been using this for quite a while now, so I'm also going to give you, I guess, my honest opinions on what I personally think of it. Now, of course, this is a full frame lens, so it is compatible with everything from your A7, A9 cameras, as well as crop sensor cameras, but there is going to be a crop factor of 1.5 times. With the 35mm F1.8, it actually does join the 35mm F2.8 from Zeiss, as well as the 35mm F1.4 from Zeiss as well. So this is going to sit in the middle of the road. It is a bit more expensive than your usual non-branded Sony lenses, but in terms of what it offers, it actually is quite a good lens, and it is very small and compact. And if you've played around with the 55mm F1.8, it is roughly about the same size and approximately the same weight. You got it?
It's a crap one.
It's a crap one. Alright, so while Mark's playing around with the Insta360, I thought I'd give you a quick tour of the lens itself. So very simple really. It does take 55mm filter threads, so relatively inexpensive filters that if you want to attach you could. It also does have a focus ring, so very nice and smooth. Not as good as the Loxian lenses, but in terms of the dampness, it's actually not too bad compared to some of the other Sony lenses that are currently available. It does come with a plastic pedal type lens hood, also has a focus hold button, but can be customized for different settings and features via the camera menu system. And also you do have a focus switch to change from autofocus to manual focus, as well as a rubber gasket to protect the lens from any dust and moisture. So I think while he's still playing around with the Insta360 One X, I'm going to take a few more shots.
Despite having what feels like a plastic build, the Sony 35mm still feels sturdy, and its weight of 280 grams makes it a good travel companion with the Sony A7 III. After taking a close look at the Sigma 35mm f1.2 lens recently, I will say I feel like I got better images when it came down to overall sharpness and colors, but that also comes at a much larger and heavier build with the added cost of having an f1.2 aperture. With the Sony, I was still able to enjoy having good image quality, and even though it doesn't have an f1.2 aperture, the f1.8 was still fast enough for me to shoot in low light conditions. The 35mm is one of my favorite focal lengths, and with this lens it was a pleasure to use, especially since it's not a burden to carry around and because it delivers the goods when it comes down to acceptable image quality. Its 9 aperture blades make it great for producing smooth out of focus blur when I'm shooting a subject and want some blur in the background. There is a bit of chromatic aberration when shooting wide open and some vignetting as well, so if that might be a bother for you, it might be best to stop down the lens, or you can correct it in post later. Other than that, the lens is extremely sharp, even wide open, and I feel like along with the 55mm f1.8, they are both great lenses to consider if you are looking for overall sharpness in your photos. It has a minimum focusing distance of 22 centimeters, and I didn't experience any issues when it came down to focusing. It was extremely quick and accurate while being super quiet, which would make it a great tool for video work, and if you're wondering, IAF works perfectly. Focus breathing also seems to be very well controlled when shooting video as well. So currently back at my hotel in Shibuya. I did actually try to finish this in Osaka, but there was just so many things that I ended up doing, like eating and just traveling, and I was non-stop. But anyway, I did get quite a few shots that I really liked out of it. It was amazing. I do love the 35mm focal length, And I do like how this lens is so small and compact, and it's still able to produce like really decent image quality. I did play around with the Sigma 35mm F1.2 not too long ago, and while that lens is an absolute beast when it comes to image quality, it was also a beast when it came down to how large and heavy it was. So for someone traveling like myself, it wasn't very practical because it was just so hard to bring around sometimes, especially if it's going to be, you know, such a massive lens. In saying that, I would highly recommend this lens for anyone that wants to travel or loves a 35mm focal length, but also having a lens that's going to be great for different situations, like whether that be in low light or just bright daylight. It doesn't really matter, but this lens actually is something I'd highly recommend. And if you want a 35mm focal length, then this would probably be the lens that I actually recommend. Anyway, that's it from me. So if you have any more questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram for more sample photos and photo updates. Don't forget to take a look in the description below for more information about the 35mm F1.8, as well as affiliate links that do help support the channel, as well as future projects. Now until then, happy shooting and thanks for watching.
As well as humans. And what else was I gonna say? Hey everyone. What you can expect from its biz.